of President Akufo-Addo.
Yes, the economy is exacting heavily on me.
Well, we'll find time to do
and
that.
I have no doubt that you are probably even worse impacted than I do.
Anyway.
Because I am fortunate to be in Sankana, so I've just taken a good bowl of TZ and I'm handling my calabash of pito. I wonder what you have eaten this morning.
Nothing yet.
Yeah, so my situation may be better.
Oh yes, obviously better than mine, because the things you are doing pito, you've done TZ already.
Yes.
You are far better than me. You're far better than me. But before I move on to the discussion, I was just having this tussle with your senior comrade, Dr. Percy, because I was just asking him about this award. Because a lot of people say a lot of things about President Akufo-Addo, but the African Bar Association thinks he's a Pan-Africanist. I know you believe in Pan-Africanism, every bit of it. They call him an anti-corruption crusader, a rare democratic leader in the field of good governance, and a true African statesman.
It's just a collection of words that reflect zero on the personality on whom these words are conferred on. Because obviously, Akufo-Addo is the direct opposite of everything that has been said. He cannot stand up as a Pan-Africanist. A Pan-Africanist who disturbs Kwame Nkrumah to the core, who decides to obliterate one of the foremost Pan-Africanists on earth, Kwame Nkrumah, and his achievements. How do you undo the works that Kwame Nkrumah has done and claim that you belong to the category of Pan-Africanist? In terms of law, I cannot discredit Akufo-Addo as being a lawyer. But in terms of what lawyers should do in upholding the rules of the game, Akufo-Addo has failed. Akufo-Addo has interfered in almost every institution and bastardized the spirit of the law. Even where investigations are yet to be conducted, Akufo-Addo makes definitive pronouncements and conclusions. That cannot be the hallmark of a lawyer. But of course, in terms of academic qualifications, I cannot obliterate the fact that he qualifies as a lawyer. But in doing what lawyers should do, particularly so that he is the president who is supposed to protect the law, Akufo-Addo has flouted violently the laws of our land. The democratic credentials of Akufo-Addo since 1992, from the violent days of military rule into our present day of oasis of a democratic nation, Akufo-Addo has been the worst in terms of manifesting democratic credentials in our country. And so if he has failed in Ghana, how could he somersault to become an African Democrat? As for corruption, Senator, need I mention any of the scandalous things that are happening under his regime, of which he daily comes to clear the people who have been associated with? Haven't we heard about members of his government, particularly deputy chief of staffs, who were seen to be corrupt and he cleared them? Haven't we heard about the Australia visa scandal, of which his appointees were involved, of which the person that was actually said initially suspended, and it is only Akufo-Addo that suspends his appointees and reinstates them? Because any time an appointee of previous regimes have been affected, they are either removed outrightly from government or they are reshuffled to other places. But he suspends you and reinstates you to your former glory. So how could anybody in the midst of chaotic, corrupt practices within our nation go and sit at your office and describe Akufo-Addo that he is an anti-corruption crusader, he is a Pan-Africanist, and he is a practitioner of good democracy? This probably constitutes the worst ever insult on the integrity and sanity of the country and entity called Ghana. And the African Bar Association should, wherever they are located, except if they are located within Ghana. And of course, we know the Bar Association of Ghana is infested by elements of Akufo-Addo's party. So they could make such a pronouncement, and that we will not take. But for the African Bar Association to make such a horrible pronouncement, I take a strong exception to it. Akufo-Addo cannot on any slate be a Pan-Africanist of any standing. He doesn't qualify to be one.
Well, let's move on to the discussion, because I guess the discussion we are having today is about one of the things that he was said to be in that in conferring that award on him, a true African statesman. And I guess we're talking about statesmanship. The president's nomination of Dr. Apiahene, the Council of States admitting that they approve him, and the basis for this approval. Have you seen the letter sent to the NDC? What do you think?
Well, I've seen the letter sent to the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress. And on reading it, in fact, I've read it about 5 times, trying to make a sense of it. And the sense I get from it is that a CV is submitted of a person to the Council of State, and the Council of State just goes through that CV, and they conclude whether the person is good or not. If that is all that the Council of State does when it has to advise the president on somebody's qualification to hold appointive office, the Council of State has outlived its usefulness. It should be scrapped. It is a waste of our money. It has played no role whatsoever in assisting in shaping the governance of our nation. In fact, in other sense, you can say that this Council of State or our Council of State, by the tone of the letter they have written, is useless. Holding nothing back. It's useless to have a Council of State that all that it does is that you have been nominated. The president has sent your CV. We have failed to even call you to say that on the basis of your CV, let's interrogate you. I don't see any job anywhere that you want to go and seek, and after you have applied and submitted your CV and your credentials, they just look at it and they say that on the basis of your CV, you are competent without having a practical feel of what you can do. So if the Council of State is submitted a CV and they sit in the comfort of their offices near Parliament House, and all they do is that, well, we have looked at your CV. You attended school in Sankana Primary School. You went to Laura Secondary School. You went to Tamale Secondary School. You achieved this and this university degrees. And you have worked here and here. And therefore, on the strength of your CV, Mr. President, we have qualified the person. So now, even when you were to get appointment into Radio Gold, is that what they took you through? Is that what they took you through? Even to be enlisted or employed as a broadcaster at Radio Gold. You know the rigidity, the difficulties you had to go through. You applied, they call you on face-to-face interview. After that, they will take you through some practical modules to see whether you can efficiently perform the task for which you say you can perform. And then you have not done any of this. Instead of admitting that, look, we failed to call the person to do further interrogation about their background. We only relied on the strength of a CV. So now, if I should give you a CV for any job, I will tailor it in such a manner that it will require only the specific qualifications for that job, right? But if you interview me further, or in this modern era, you can easily take the name and Google. You can search it on any search engine, and you find out whether I have been involved in other things or not, because these days nothing hides. If I have a Facebook account, the Facebook account and my postings will give you evidence of what I have been doing and what I have been saying, and that will qualify me. So the day ever the Council of State search Dr. Apiahene, even on the search engine, to confirm whether he was indeed a member of the New Patriotic Party, and whether he has defended and pushed some of the things which I know all of us do, have they checked on his Twitter and other handles to be able to ascertain whether this person is the neutral that we want? So if you say that you did not do all this, you only use a CV, and you have recommended to the president that on the strength of the CV, the president can appoint. And now new evidence is brought to you that no, hey, we have checked this person, he is a partisan person, and therefore, Council of State, you can do it. Then you tell us that the position you have taken is functus officio, meaning that you have expired your limit. I think that the Council of State does not require any tooling any longer. But I'm told that every Council of State gets a V8. They are given allowances when they sit, and many other things that are associated. They get earnings. So by this letter, the Council of State is telling us that indeed they don't merit any resource from our nation. I call for the abolishment of the Council of State.
Because of the letter?
Because the letter has shown the weaknesses of the Council of State. They are supposed to advise the president, right? And the council says that the president doesn't even know Apiahene, so to speak. So they bring Apiahene's CV to the president. The president forwards the CV to you. Then all you do is that, okay, I'm checking. Has the person been to school? Is the person coming from a certain home within Ghana? And that's all. That's all. Senna, even on my farm, when people have to come and work there, you just don't come and say that, oh, I can be a farmer. We take you, we ask you questions, we check your character. And then after we have done that, then management will meet and say, oh, this person can be on the farm. So if we want people to enter national offices, and all we have to do is to go and sit down, take pen and paper, and scribble things and say that this is who I am. And then we send it to you, and you say that, oh, you have indicated that this is who you are. We agree that this is who you are indeed. Then you think that we are worthy. We are ridiculing our institutions. Seriously ridiculing the institutions. And we are making it as if, look, whatever the president brings is a given. In this instance, it has been revealed that it cannot be a given because the man has flopped. He is a known member of the New Patriotic Party. In his CV before, when he wanted to be regional minister, he indicated strength by strength what his strength within the party is. How is it possible that somebody who is such a die-in-the-wool party member will now come and be a referee? And this is what I say all the time. When I have a football team in the village. Then you bring your football club to come and play a match. Then in the course of playing the match, I, who is the referee, now changes. No, I, who is the captain of the team, now changes to go and wear the referee's uniform. And I'm giving the armament, right? That is the whistle, the yellow card, and the red card. And I've been clothed with authority to sanction. And you still want to play the game with me. In the course of the game, even when you don't kick anybody, we can award a penalty kick. We can show red cards so as to reduce the numbers that you cannot participate, or your performance will be overridden by the fact that your numbers are less. And so if Apiahene is a member of the New Patriotic Party, defended the party, was a patron of the party, and suddenly he is now coming to be an independent person, the future is very, very bright. One day, Johnson Asiedu Nketia will become the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. One day, Bernard Mornah will become the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. And then we will see whether there will be a Council of State, whether there will be anybody in this country that will say that Bernard Mornah is a partisan person, and we have known him, and he cannot lead an independent institution in this country. Let's be ridiculing with democracy and see how far it will take us.
But Comrade, is advice also not based on the information that's provided? That the Council of State's role is to advise, that you provide them information, they assess the information and advise you accordingly. That where there's no information provided on the partisan status of the person, they will not have known.
Senna, when I was called that you were going to speak to me on this subject, I said, I haven't seen the Council of State letter, isn't it? That was when I was called. So I said, give me a moment. I will go and search it. And lo and behold, I searched. And I got it. I did not stop there. The Upper West region has members of the Council of State. I needed to confirm before I could speak to you. Have I done background check or not? So our Council of State just took a CV, and that is sufficient background check upon which they will advise the president. I know most of them. Some are ex-policemen, some are ex-chief justice, some are ex-military men, some are professors of good standing, some are chiefs. They cannot do this. They are belittling the efficacy and effectiveness of the council. And sometimes it calls to question their professional background, because knowing them in their individual state, they are such excellent persons within the Council of State. As a group, if they fail, it means that the Council of State is not worthy to continue to be in our status.
At this point, the NDC sent a letter. I don't know what was their objective, but how do we resolve these issues? Because the man remains a commissioner.
Well, as I keep insisting, this election will be won not by the declaration of the Electoral Commission. The 2024 elections is far from MPP winning. The disastrous performance of the MPP has impacted negatively on all of us. And so it is from the beginning that MPP cannot be. So any attempt whatsoever to machinate this election will have our democracy at threat. And so we will go out there to go and do our campaigns. People will come out to vote, and we'll see whether people will manipulate. We will keep a very close eye on every person within the Electoral Commission. And we shall take our ballot as our weapon.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. But before you go, you said the president has tried to destroy everything that is in Nkrumah. But I don't know if you've seen the Kwame mausoleum. Very good shape.
Yes, I was there at the commissioning. And before the commissioning, I was there at the construction, where they wanted to place the so-called Big Six on the wall, the Heroes Wall, which is now littered with only pictures of Kwame Nkrumah. And I was one who protested to the contractors that if they make a mistake and put up any other effigy within the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, we will pull down the wall and the structure. And somehow the World Bank was consulted subsequently, because the director at the Ministry of Tourism had come to open his mouth wide to say that all these people were going to be put there. And that was my motivation for going to check whether indeed that was going to be done. Subsequently today, it is not the case. On 4th July, when the place was being commissioned, and take note of 4th July, that is America's Independence Day. America, through its CIA, machinated and led the overthrow of Kwame Nkrumah. For America's Independence Day to be used to commission a refurbished and upgraded Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park should tell you the kind of mindset that our president and his team has. Beyond that, don't forget that the Minister for Finance came there. Minister of Finance is not a tourist minister, right? The Minister for Finance came there to announce publicly that Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park, in last year alone, was able to mobilize over 2.5 million Ghana cedis. And so with the upgrading, they are expecting that it will bring them more money. They hate Kwame Nkrumah, but they want to use him as a commercial edifice. Today, the last time I spoke, I said that assuming that they are targeted 1 million tourists at the Kwame Nkrumah Park is to materialize in 2023-2024. What that means is that they are expecting, assuming that the charge was 5 Ghana cedis per individual, they are to expect how much? 5 million. Right? 5 million.
Yeah.
But we are told that the charge is 25 per person. So if it's 25 per person times 1 million, you are talking about 25 million. 2.5, no, 22, yes, 25 billion. So they see it as a commercial entity. You hate pork, but you relish the soup. They hate Kwame Nkrumah. They have done everything to obliterate the history of Kwame Nkrumah. But seeing that tourists from anywhere, from the Caribbean, from Latin America, from the United States or North America, from everywhere that comes to Ghana, the first point of call is they want to see that great man that ever walked the surface of Africa. We want to see where that Kwame Nkrumah was laid. And therefore, the number of people that go to Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park is enormous. That is the reason for going to the World Bank to go and take $3.5 million to come and upgrade it. And so it is not as if they love Kwame Nkrumah, but they find that Kwame Nkrumah is a huge revenue generator to support their misplaced priorities. And that is why they did it, not because Kwame Nkrumah is loved. And I don't know why you think that Akufo-Addo. Why? They went and upgraded Dankwa in Chebi. Have you ever heard anybody come to Ghana and say they want to visit where Dankwa was? Because nobody liked traitors and national betrayers. And Dankwa was the national betrayer. And so it is the African hero, the defender of the marginalized in the world, that everybody wants to come. And they see Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park as the Mecca of African political renaissance. And that's why people come to that place. And so they see money, whilst we see an African hero.
Mr. Bernard, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Bernard is former chairman of the People's National Convention, lawyer.
Bernard Mornah demonstration